Good day, Fed Phoenix fam. So, this is just a little tidbit, little something along my journey that I thought I'd share with y'all. So, my cell phone service, right? It like expires and I pay the bill, like the 26th or 27th usually. It's the end of the month. And as y'all know, I go to federal prison December 3rd, and today's like the 23rd-ish of the month. I'm not really sure even what day it is. I know how long I got till I go to prison. I got eight days and 20 hours or 19 hours and some change. But I don't know what day of the month it is number-wise. Day before Thanksgiving. But anyhow, and I was thinking to myself, I would be crazy to pay my cell phone on the 7th, just to have it for like 6 days until I go to prison. Like, that same $60 that is my cell phone could do me some favors, on the inside, commissary-wise. And, I'm in for the day, when it's dark out or shortly before it gets dark. And, this time of year it gets dark really early up north. And throughout the day, a lot of times I'm in places where there's Wi-Fi, be it visiting people, be it at places of business, whatever. And when I'm in for the night, which often is actually really in for the afternoon, evening, there's Wi-Fi. So I made an announcement on my social media, to my very small people that have access to that, my small amount of people, I should say, that have access to that. But I'm not paying my cell phone bill this month. Not doing it. Because I'm not dropping $60 for 6 days of service. That just sounds goofy to me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an app like Text Now probably, or something like that. Or I think Tango. I think there are a few apps like this. But anyway, where you get like a temporary phone number and people can call and text you on that number at no cost to you or them whenever you're somewhere where there's Wi-Fi. And then, and of course I'll use my social media. A lot of people hit me up on Messenger and stuff, when I'm somewhere where there's Wi-Fi as well. And so I really would suggest, if you're a person that's going to be doing your time on a budget, and if there's not at least 2-3 weeks into your bill pay cycle on your phone bill, before you go in, if there's just a couple days or a week or 10 days, if I was you, and what I'm doing is I just wouldn't even bother to pay for that month's service. Use a free app, get a free number, and when you're at home for the evening, or a lot of times when you're out and about during the day and you're on Wi-Fi, you can call people, they can call you, you can text back and forth. The only time you really be unavailable is when you're out and about and you're not somewhere, with Wi-Fi access. But so that's what I'm doing. And making this decision, I've remembered something that was incredibly unpleasant that I'm gonna share with you also. When my door got kicked in a couple years ago, and I spent 10 days in the regional, because after 10 days you get your preliminary, and they reduce your bond, and that's when I bonded out. But one of the many just random odd things that I had went through was I would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, or even during the day, because I use my cell phone so much, particularly Google. Like, I'm one of those people, I love learning new things, so I'm always Googling something. But throughout the day, and particularly like even in the middle of the night, it would occur to me like, oh, I'm gonna Google this, or oh, I want to check my whatever, my email, or and I would go to reach for my cell phone, which of course I didn't have, and I would kind of panic for a split second, like, oh my God, where's my phone? And then I remember, you ain't got no phone in here. But it would like panic me, or like if there was any kind of like noise or sound throughout the day or night that was even remotely similar to like a notification tone or a ringtone, more so notification tones, random little beeps or buzzes, I would reach for my cell phone, which of course I didn't have. And again, for like a hot second, a couple seconds, I would be panicking like, oh my God, where's my phone? And then I'd have to remind myself, you don't have a phone right now. And it really was a weird thing that I went through the full 10 days. Like, at no point during that week and a half did I just become accustomed to the fact that I didn't have my cell phone. And I definitely learned how incredibly inconvenient it is to not have access to Google anytime you want. To have zero access to Google ever was just really just, because I've become so accustomed to be a person that always has their phone with them, and I Google all the time, all type of things. It was just really foreign. And one good thing about this not paying my phone bill and having, a little less than a week before I go in without a cell phone is, one, like if I'm on the highway and we're going to be late and I need to call the prison and call my PO and say, hey, I'm going to be a couple minutes late, I can pull into a McDonald's or a Starbucks or whatever, off the highway, and temporarily have Wi-Fi access to do that, with one of these free text phone numbers, that you can use with Wi-Fi. But also, I think me not having cell phone service, I think I'm going to habitually just reach for my phone all the time to check my emails or to Google things or to just scroll social media because I'm bored sitting in a waiting room. And, and there are going to be times where there's not Wi-Fi when I go to do this. And it's going to start training my brain to be comfortable or start getting a little bit acclimated to the concept of, I can't just whip out my phone or hop on a cell phone whenever I'm wondering something or I'm bored or I'm curious or whatever, to kill time. So even though, 6 days is a very small piece of time, I think that the fact that I won't have my phone ringing, most of the time for 6 days. I think the fact that I can't just, scroll or Google or whatever anytime I want during those 6 days, I think it'll help my mind kind of start the transition to switch over to my new normal in prison. I think transitionally, not only will this save me money, which will be a benefit once I'm incarcerated, but I think from a very simple transitional perspective, it'll do me a lot of favors to kind of, be already kind of acclimating to a cell phone free life. Not that people in prisons don't, find ways to access cell phones, illegally. But I just have no desire to be part of that, because on the off chance that we get tossed or anything happens and I get caught with a cell phone, that's just write-ups and trouble and problems I don't want. Like, I don't want any problems. I want to go in, do my time, really just focus on the fact that, hey, I'm coming out the other end of this a non-smoker, in better physical shape and health, more well-read, with a better understanding of myself, a lot of introspection under my belt, and knowing that I'm going to be a better person, in every possible way, mentally, physically, spiritually, when I come out of the other side of this than I am going into it or while I'm in it. And that's really going to try to be my focal point, just because you have to find something positive in the day-to-day to really kind of distract yourself with, to make the time go by quicker and to just kind of mentally and emotionally weather the storm. You know what I mean? But I wanted to share that with y'all because I think that I've actually heard, and I really don't understand this, but there are some people who go to federal prison, particularly camps, people like myself, who have never been in a county jail. I mean, I've been in a lot of county jails, particularly in like my late teens, my early 20s, when I was kind of wild and I've been to a lot of county spots in various states. Now, granted, until this recent situation, I hadn't been in a county jail in over 15 years. You know what I mean? Because I really was a person who grew up and got their priorities together and just, evaded being a part of the freedom risking crew for a long time. But, prior to this current situation, I've never done prison time prior to this current situation. But, so for those who have never had to live life, especially people in the current, you know what I mean? Like if you're someone who did some prison time 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it was probably zero adjustment for you that you didn't have a cell phone in your pocket, or in your hand, off and on throughout the day. But I'm talking about current, people that are accustomed to always having a cell phone with them, always pulling it out, always checking it, always, that's such a huge part of modern day-to-day life and of our routines, and something that we don't even think about half the time we're doing it, most of the time, all the time, I don't know when we're doing it. But when suddenly that is no longer a part of your life, something that you repetitively do habitually, subconsciously throughout the day, throughout the night, when that just gets taken out of your routine, it's really kind of it's kind of disorienting a little bit. And there's definitely a period of time to adjust to that. As I'm sure, there'll be 100 things when I come home that I will say, it took me a minute to really adjust to my new normal with. But, I know one thing that's going to be hard for me, to adjust to is the very limited time at Chow Hall. The meals are very, very brief. I'm a person who eats very slowly. I'm a very finicky eater. I got some issues with food, between my low blood sugar that requires me to eat regularly and the fact that I try to be conscious of carbs and sugars and stuff, because I'm a person who also has metabolic issues that, is not like I gain weight so easy and I lose weight so difficultly. You know what I mean? But, I'm not going to be able to piddle around and pick certain stuff out of the mixed vegetables and I'm just not gonna have time. And so being a person who typically now, like if you and I went to lunch, from the time our food hits the table till I'm done, because I'll probably be talking to, and eating, and I'm, slow eater. I like to really be conscious of my digestion process. I mean, we're talking a half hour if I'm being quick, maybe an hour, 45 minutes probably on average. And there I'm gonna have like, 5, 10, 15 minutes tops to eat a meal, which is gonna be a really crazy adjustment for me. Like, I kind of think I might accidentally come home and be like one of those people that's really just a stereotypical fresh out. And, I go to lunch or I'm eating with somebody and I'm just like, cha, 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 just, looking crazy and kind of like a savage. But, those are things that happen. Those are new habits that people develop after incarceration as a result of their environment. And, I'm definitely like at the thought of what new habits I may develop that are just counterproductive or socially unusual, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, but I'll just, I'm gonna cut this short because I don't want to keep you all day. But yeah, the cell phone thing. If you're a person like myself who's getting ready to self-surrender, I strongly advise, if you're not a person with excessive financial means, to really give some thought to at what point, once you get your date, from your judge. I got mine at sentencing. A lot of people do. Some people don't get their date until they get their designation letter. But when you know the date that you're going in, to look at where that falls on your cell phone cycle and determine if it's really worth your money to pay for an additional month of cell phone service. And also, to keep in mind that, there are apps and stuff where you can make calls and you can, send and receive texts as long as you're somewhere with Wi-Fi that costs you nothing. And then aside from that, keep in mind that if you're a person like myself who always has their cell phone handy, one of the mountain of things that you will have to adjust to once you're incarcerated is that no longer being a factor in your day-to-day life. And, kind of weaning yourself off the cell phone before you go in will probably do you more favors than harm. So I just wanted to talk about that because I know that's something, if you've never been incarcerated or you're not someone on this journey and you just watch my channel for educational or entertainment purposes, it's just a random small thing that I find odd that you would probably certainly find very strange. The whole cell phone situation, and a lot of people that are incarcerated get in trouble because they have cell phones they ain't supposed to have, which is why I don't want no part of that. No, sir. So if you like the video, feel free to subscribe, feel free to hit notifications. As you all know, I have like 8 days and 20 something hours till I self-surrender to federal prison. In the description will be information on how to contact me while I'm in prison. If you'd like to write me, I would love to get mail from you guys. If you want to be supportive, there's information below to do that as well. And, whatever you're going through in life, remember it is just a slice of your life. And no matter how difficult a day or a moment or even a year or whatever may be in your life, how difficult a slice is, know that you will get through it because you have to. So with that, I'm going to wish y'all a beautiful evening. Tomorrow is Turkey Day. I like to say Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm one of those people that's a fan of the idea of switching the name of it and making it more about, keep the whole, family aspect. This is a day where families come together and they're thankful for things. But also a day specifically to acknowledge the suffering of Native Americans. I think that that's the least that we can do as American citizens, is have a day where we actively acknowledge the suffrage of Indigenous peoples here. But anywho, I really try to avoid politics, so I ain't gonna get too deep into it. But good day, God bless, and I'll holler at y'all later.